Hujambo viewers, welcome to today's episode of Load Shedding, a show that focuses on current affairs pertaining explicitly to Africa. Today we shall be focusing on a controversial topic. My name is Kees Kibinda. Recently the AU convened in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and one of the resolutions that was passed was the mass withdrawal of the ICC, the International Criminal Court, by all African member states. The mass withdrawal from the International Criminal Court is spearheaded by South Africa and Kenya. South Africa and Burundi have already put into motion the withdrawal from the ICC, and they say that their reason for this is that they feel that the ICC unfairly targets African leaders and challenges the sovereignty of African states. This accusation is something that the ICC vehemently denies. Now, the ICC says that they do not have a personal vendetta against the African nations. They say that they want to keep the sovereignty intact of every country that are a member of the ICC. However, they do say that they are trying to put people to trial that have committed war crimes. And sadly, a lot of these happen to be African. You see, out of the 9 cases that have been put to trial by the ICC, 8 of them have been against people from African countries. These countries being Kenya, Ivory Coast, Libya, Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Central African Republic twice, Uganda, and Mali, with the 9th being Georgia. For those of you that are right now clustered to the screen looking at me and thinking, oh my God, this is such a bad idea of African countries to leave the ICC, fear not. You see, the resolution is not binding, and by that I mean it simply shows its nations or its states how to leave the ICC, and it doesn't explicitly tell them that they must leave the ICC, which is a small victory cry for the human rights activists out there that fear that African states or some African states simply cannot handle sensitive cases as their judicial system is simply too weak to handle them. Now, for all you statistical analysts out there probably thinking right now, yes, the ICC definitely has a personal vendetta against African states because ever since it existed in 2006, 8 of the 9 cases that the ICC has tried are against Africans. Well, I'm here to tell you that hold your horses, that is quite prematurely put. You see, the Roman Statute was signed by 122 nations, and the Roman Statute is what put the ICC into existence. Now, of those 122 nations, 34 of them are African states, which means that 27.8%, or roughly a third of the people that are signatories, or the nations, that are signatories of the Roman Statute, are African. Now, yes, I agree with you. There are many atrocities out there that are caused by people during war or without war that should be put on trial by judicial systems, and in case those fail of their native countries, they should be tried by the ICC. However, most of these people that have been committing these crimes are from countries that are not signatories of the Roman Statute, which means that the ICC cannot bring these people or put them on trial. And that means that, well, let's face it, there's a third African nations that are members of the ICC or are signatories of the Roman Statute, and there are some high resource areas on the African continent where crimes are being committed by individuals that need to be put to trial, and the ICC is doing this. And mind you, it's not for their filling their own pockets, it really is for the betterment of the people out there on the ground that are suffering. So here's what I think of the ICC versus the African nations. The notion or the idea behind the ICC is a noble one. Bringing people to trial that have been evading the short arm of the laws of their respective countries, and still ensuring that they face the atrocities or the crimes that they have committed is noble, it's great. However, since its existence of 2006, only 9 cases have been brought before the ICC, with only one person, I believe, only being truly convicted, with those honors going to no other than Charles Taylor, the ex-president of Liberia. Considering that the ICC has permanent staff that need to be paid continuously makes me think that this is hugely expensive, and therefore the way the ICC is run today is highly ineffective. And for that reason alone, things within the ICC need to change, or something internationally needs to come in and say, look, this is better, let's do it like this. Now, I can understand that the African nations do not have the time or the patience to wait for this, as there are quite a few things amiss within the African continent. But then they should come up with something before they quit the ICC that replaces it. Now, there is the African Criminal Court. However, I don't think that this is, let's say, an entity capable of handling such matters. You see, in 2014, the AU signatories signed a treaty that made sure that sitting African presidents cannot be put to trial by the African Criminal Court. This already is an Achilles heel to what the whole essence of this criminal court should be, because a sitting president or not should be put to trial if they have committed atrocities that need to be, that need to face the law. Now, many of you will be thinking, are African nations really capable of handling sensitive situations by themselves? Well, I can simply remind you of how ECOWAS members were able to oust Yahya Jammeh and instate Adama Barrow without any bloodshed being shed. However, I must insist that there must be a neutral entity or neutral body that ensures that the laws of these sovereign African states are abided by everyone. I mean, let's have a look again at Gambia and see how Yahya Jammeh tried to contest the voting results in the judicial system of Gambia itself, or with the judicial system of Gambia itself, forgetting that he had fired the judges 2 years prior. Now, it is therefore paramount that a neutral entity must be set up, which is incorruptible by any of the members of any of the countries within Africa, as it is not uncommon for leaders to employ or put people in place that are either allies or family of the leaders themselves in judicial positions, which basically means that they're running the whole system. So tell me, what do you think? Do you think the ICC has a personal vendetta against African states? And do you think that the ICC is somewhat outdated and should be changed? Do you think that African nations should set up something by themselves to govern for themselves? Give me your views. That's it for today. Please subscribe to me on YouTube, subscribe to me on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter. My name is Kees Kibinda. See you next time.